everyone.
Welcome back to another interesting adventure.
We're once again headed off into the middle of nowhere, Nevada, and look at this neat old corral.
The history of this state was built onto rugged landscapes like these, dotted with remote ranches, open ranges, and hidden mining camps, which is where we are headed right now. Like the old-timers before us, we are traveling across the seemingly endless desert and up into the hills in search of rich ores.
Here's a look at where we are starting out near the corral.
And we are going to hook off up into the mountainside, looking for historic mining activity nestled up in the hills.
Here's an overview of the site as it looks today.
And this adventure was partly inspired by a book called Treasures of the Tempaiut, written by Ava Hyde Coyen. Ava was the daughter of the site owners from 1938 to 1960. The preface reads,
This is an interesting and absorbing true story of the discovery and development of one of the world's largest tungsten mines, written by the brave and loyal wife of a professional prospector and miner of the old school.
Ava includes a picture of the town site from 1946. Though little remains to be seen of the old town, this was indeed the same valley where people like Ava's entire lives and fortunes played out.
We are heading into the site now, past what appears to be a more modern maintenance bay. The interesting thing about this site is the amount of time it was worked.
Ore was discovered here on this side of the mountain back in 1916, and the site was mined intermittently up through the 1970s, though major production stopped around 1957. In addition to this, rich silver ore was also discovered long before that on the south side of the mountain back in 1865.
Because of this, you can find an interesting mix of structures like you see here with the huge modern warehouse on the left, but also a smaller, older looking wooden building on the right.
Though most of the older structures are long gone, some foundations, timbers, and even repurposed buildings like this one remain. And we are going to check this out a little bit later. For now, we are going to try and catch some shade and park the Jeep.
You can't tell it from home there, but it's pretty toasty out here, even up at this elevation.
As we take a look inside this huge yellow building, this looks like it must have warehoused the mill and loading machinery, and it is massive in there.
We're going to park in the shade in there, but as we pull up, take a look at the workings back there.
Wow, they must have been busy here.
So here we are parked now. You can get an idea of the size of this place.
Large foundations in here also. Must have been holding a crusher or hopper, something big. It must have been quite a racket echoing around in here also with whatever was going on. Look at the size of it.
There are several bays. We'll take a look in the back one here before we go outside.
It also looks like it was holding a massive piece of machinery in the corner on those foundations.
Out on the other side of the buildings now, heading to the back of the mill.
Looks like what might have been some material holding bays. And back there was something built up on these posts, leading to what I thought was a mine adit, so of course I went to take a closer look. Inside you could see there were ore chutes from the ceiling, and the tunnel did not go very far back as I thought. Instead, these chutes were being used to funnel ore from up above, most likely onto a track down here to head out into the mill house through a cutout for processing. This is quite an efficient system they had set up here by the time it ended.
Now we're on top of the chutes. You can see them here.
And it looks like there was a track up top there leading to this huge hopper loader built into the hillside. From this photo and remains of the foundations, it looked like they must have also had a cart or conveyor system built here that passed ore from up in the hill, through the hopper, and onto the chutes we just came out of. Once again, very efficient design. They must have been moving large amounts of ore.
We're on the upper level now, checking out this blue building. Looks like the second biggest structure left here. You can see the site continue up the hill, but let's check out this building first.
You'll see a beautiful view down into the desert valley from up here. And I got my security detail. They're going to wait outside and pull fire watch for me. Listen for any high-pitched screams. Let's look inside. This must have been the locker room. Looking back in that hallway, there's lots of droppings and closed doors, so I didn't go in there. But this looks like the washroom. Seen better days. Next to the locker room here is a mechanical closet. You can see the boilers, HVAC.
On the side of the building here, Mojo went up to look at the second floor, but this one is locked. Right above him on the building, there was once a logo of whatever mining company was here last.
We tried to get a photo, but it's weathered bad. Looks like Emerco Minerals, maybe? Let us know in the comments if this logo looks familiar to you. On the other side, I found an entrance by what looks like a front desk. There's a head count chart on the wall used by the foreman to keep track of who is down in the mine for safety reasons. You see many variations of these used over the decades. Some were just a candlepick holder with your name above it. Let's head in. Here's that front desk area again. There's some stuff left over. And look, toilet bowl cleaner. Glad they were keeping it hygienic until the end. This way leads back to the locker room, and you have to be aware of hantavirus in places like these. Lots of rat droppings in there, and I don't want to stir it up or worse. Also not a fan of looking behind closed doors in places like this, so let's keep going. Little washroom in here. All the copper's been stripped from this box. But hey, this is an interesting labeling system. Leave on, leave off, leave on, leave off. Hope no one had to change an outlet or switch in here. What a nightmare. Old Caterpillar parts catalog. Semi-closed door. I guess this one is okay to look. I hope someone was on the Tour de Franzia in here. Another storage room. It's dark in there. Pretty cool. Look at all these part numbers and prices. effective January 11th, 1982. Heading back down the other hallway, this obviously must be an office looking at the desk. Another room, we got some explorer art here, I guess you could call it. There's the security detail taking photos of the squirrels out there. Good work.
Squirrel!
Here you can see the strategic beer command truck breaking out of beer knocks, and the frustrated residents yell, "Hey, they took our beer." Looks like whoever was here last was looking to get hitched. And this looks like the latrine, kind of busted up too. And I have a strict no looking in abandoned toilet stalls rule, so let's keep on going.
A lot of droppings in here, so...
Finally found the stairwell leading back up to the second floor. Nice view of the hilltop up here. Some more office or meeting rooms. Look at this cool view watching the hopper work all day. This is the exact kind of art I don't want to see when poking around places like this. Just a bunch of office spaces, and it seems like this must have been the administrative building. Boxes of old paperwork in here, an old environmental flyer. And check out this shift report from the mine. How cool.
Let's see.
So I'm going to head back outside and meet up with the security detail now. And we're going to keep exploring this level, so let's follow this old road back towards the huge hopper and those colorful hills.
Here we are on top of the massive hillside hopper from earlier. You can see the mine carts came right over it and dumped the ore in.
You can also see the blue building on this level to the right, and another beautiful view ahead down into the dry lake bed.
Directly behind the hopper was the colorful pile of ore we saw earlier.
This appears to be mounds of tailings, and the rocks here is very colorful. It's hard to catch on camera. I originally thought this concrete was a flood drainage until I took a closer look.
Look at all this.
Here's another piece of the ore. You can see the reds and oranges of iron, and it has a deep green running through it. They were getting mainly tungsten out of here, among other things, so maybe let me know down in the comments what kind of mineralization you see in these rocks. What I thought was drainage here ended up actually being an old mine adit they tried to shore up. Maybe this was one of the original strikes and they were getting the ore right from here. It is older and looks unstable though, and as the saying goes, stay out, stay alive. But you can see those colorful minerals on the wall there. There's Rach doing some rock hounding on the tailings, and we're going to keep following the railcar path. We're just to the left of the hopper now, looking back down on the mill.
Let's head down to get a closer look at the hopper structure.
On the way down, we found several interesting remains of core samples.
These are pieces of solid quartz that were drilled out with a hollow bit to be analyzed.
You can see the mineralization in these samples. This area also produced secondary minerals like zinc and pyrite, perhaps seen in these samples.
Here we are at ground level beneath the hopper. You can get a sense of how large this structure is now.
Looks like this was used to load rail cars, maybe. And here's the foundations where something massive must have sat. Thinking perhaps the mill or crusher may have been out here instead of inside. This must have processed a whole lot of ore. There I am between the foundations so you can get a sense of the scale.
By now the doggies needed a break, so we loaded up, rehydrated, and drove back up to the hopper level.
Up here is where we discovered the Motherlode.
This adit is the mine Eva told about in her book, one of the richest tungsten mines in the world, right here in this lonely corner of the desert outside the Area 51.
I've never seen a portal built up quite like this one. I just had to take a look at what they were up to in there all these years. Not far from the entrance, it looks like either a collapse or backfill happened. However, if you're curious, I'm going to leave a link in the description to a channel we follow called TVR Exploring. They have extensively searched this mine in a video called The Biggest Abandoned Mine in Nevada, and you can see the footage here. I believe he said they walked past this point straight back for 45 minutes to an hour with no end in sight. As the adage goes, stay out, stay alive, so I'm going to head back out, over to the other portal. Here's the adjacent workings, look like some air chutes left on the ground. You can see fairly quickly there are some timbers back here and it looks like it ends. Or does it? Looks like backfill in there. Maybe this was a dangerous shaft that was sealed off. Or could have been dynamite storage maybe. Let us know what you think in the comments. Coming back out now, there's a photo of the Mine Adit for future reference, heading deep into the mountainside. And one more shot of the side adit. Not sure how much longer that one will last.
Heading away from the mines, you'll see the rail lines along the ground and switching stations nearby where it looks like the ore was set right towards the hopper and mill.
One last look at the colorful hills near the Mine Adits, and now we're going to head back down past the mill to the old town site. Here we are at the older wooden building, and when I went to take a look in the upstairs, the entrance and floor was in very poor shape, not safe to walk on. It had obviously been remodeled more recently from the drywall, and it looks like this might have been a bunkhouse or living area, but the more interesting things were downstairs. Here on the ground level, I noticed this open cellar, and it was a bit unsettling seeing all these dynamite boxes at first. But I quickly realized they were just recycling them. Inside you can see the remnants of hundreds and hundreds of old core samples taken from the site, conveniently stored in the old dynamite boxes.
Nope, I ain't doing that.
Just boxes of them everywhere. All Atlas brand dynamite. Some machines left down here too. Looks like they were processing the samples. If you know what these were used for, please let us know in the comments. Little crawl space up there filled with them. Let's check one out.
Looks like a jumbo piece of chalk.
And if you want to see something really cool, in the TVR exploring video, they actually found one of the bore holes in the mine.
Look at that. Don't drop your keys or phone down there. Back overlooking the town site now, we have one more order of business before we head out, and that is to try and line up the historical photos with the present day.
Here's the photo once again from 1946. We can do our best to set them side by side and match terrain.
What you end up with is a composite like this, which makes it clear to see the old town is long gone and only modern structures stand.
We combed the area on foot, only finding some shattered timbers, crumbling footers, and old tin can dumps.
This seemed to be all that remained of the older town, which once boasted a school, a post office, and a population of 700 residents. Along the hillside, I did find some remnants of what looked to be an old root cellar. Judging from these timbers, the cellar looks like it was from the older original workings in town. A look inside, you'll see some simple shelves and hanging hooks, but it is mainly serving as a bird roost now.
We're headed back down the mountain now, and it was a fun day exploring up here, but it's getting late in the afternoon and we need to search for a primitive campsite for the night.
As you look out over the dry lake bed, you can see there's no shortage of real estate out here, and hunkering down somewhere will be no issue.
But before we do that, we're going to head into the town of Rachel nearby and grab a cold drink and a snack.
We've arrived at the little alien back in Rachel now and taken a much-deserved siesta.
If you get lucky, like we did, you might even get your picture taken with an alien here.
Ooh. Make sure to stock up on provisions at this outpost. It is a long, lonely drive in either direction before you encounter more Earthlings.
And this stretch of the Extraterrestrial Highway is known to be especially remote.
Thank you everyone for coming along on the adventure with us.
We hope everyone had fun, and we'll see you next time.
Down
the
that
dusty
dusty trail.
Boy.